Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be attempting a get ready with me birthday edition because if I planned this accordingly, today is the 22nd, which means it's my birthday. So I thought I would show you guys what an ideal birthday glam would look like for me. Something a little sexy and sultry because I think everyone wants to look a little sexy on their birthday. So yeah, if you guys are interested, keep on watching. I'm going to start by priming my T-zone. I really like the way this De-Slick Complexion Primer by Urban Decay worked the other day. And you just need the tiniest bit, and I'm just going to apply it down the T-zone. The one thing I will say about this primer though is that you can't really do a buffing motion over it. You really have to do a patting motion because it is so mattifying that when you try and rub other products on top of it, it tends to just kind of clump up. So it's better to just pat whatever foundation or concealer it is that you're using on top of it versus trying to blend it out. And I really like this primer because I'm not the kind of person to touch up my makeup. I do it once and let it be for the rest of the night. And this really helps with how oily my T-zone gets. Okay, for foundation, I will say one thing about special event makeup or birthday makeup. Go with what you know and what is your favorite. Don't try to use new products that you have never used before because chances are you don't really know how they're going to work on your skin or how they're going to look. So go with your favorite foundation, your favorite primer, your favorite colors, basically whatever you feel the best in and have used before, because I did try to film this previously and I kept using a bunch of new products and I didn't like the results. So always use what you love. So I'm using my Cocondo Aqua Foundation. Shade 143 is what matches me right now because I do have a spray tan. And then for a primer everywhere else, I'm using the Sensual Skin Primer by KEVYN. Basically, I really love this product because of the way it dispenses the primer and how you can use it as like a mixing palette. So I take my foundation and I just put it right here. And then from there, I just pick up the primer and foundation mix and apply it to my skin. So I'm going to apply it with the paddle brush everywhere but the T-zone. And then for that area, I'm going to pat it in with my sponge. I have so much leftover eyeliner around my eyes from attempting this look last night. I have learned that I can't film more than one video in a day and especially attempt to do a certain look multiple times because the video just never turns out right. So I started just practicing my looks the night before and then doing them the next day in the morning. I'm a morning person. I can't film at night. Whenever I film at night, I'm just like, get me out of this room and out of this chair. I can't film any longer. So filming in the morning for me is key. I think when it comes to YouTube and filming, you really just kind of have to make a schedule that works for you and stick with it. Oh, one other thing I forgot to do that I did the other day and I actually really like the results. I apply my eyeshadow primer on my eyelids before foundation and then apply my foundation over it because I do like the way foundation or concealer looks as an eyeshadow base, but it always ends up creasing no matter what, even if I set it with powder. So I'm going to use Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I'm just going to apply it to my eyelids and then apply this same foundation over my eyelids. And it really helps to prevent creasing if you like using your concealer or your foundation as an eyeshadow base. So now, like I mentioned, I'm taking that sponge from Ofra, the Perfecting Puff, and I'm patting foundation over the area where I mattified it with the De-Slick Primer by Urban Decay, and I'm going to do the same over the eyelids. I'm looking pretty orange, but my concealer is going to help balance that out. I just really wanted to catch up with the color on my body because a lot of my foundations right now are too light. No matter what I do, they just look really pale. Also, you guys, someone commented the other day for me to not look at the monitor or mirror so much, but for those of you who don't know, I do film by myself and I constantly check everything because I have finished a video and then none of it was in focus, or there is like lipstick all over my teeth or something is weird about my makeup that I didn't realize because I wasn't checking. So I'm constantly doing this. So if you guys always see my eyes going in this direction, it's because I'm checking to see that I'm in focus. FYI. So I'm using NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in shade Honey to just brighten that inner corner. And then I'm using the Cocondo Aqua Foundation in shade number 3. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. I'm also gonna blend it out with that paddle brush again. I don't know, something about the paddle brush I just really like right now. Maybe it's because it allows me to be cleaner when I'm filming because if not, foundation ends up everywhere on my camera, on my monitor, everywhere. So I think that's why I like it at the moment. So I'm just taking the paddle brush and blending it out. The birds are going crazy outside right now. So see, now it's a little more balanced out. You can see the highlight. Salud. And then to set everything, I'm gonna be using my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in medium so that it matches the tan parts. And then the highlighted areas and areas that crease, I'm using my CoverFX Perfect Setting Powder. Kyle's allergies are really bad right now and he's gonna hop in the shower. So I'm gonna do this really quick in silence so that he can shower, and I'll be back to finish the rest of the look. I'm also gonna do my eyebrows really quick while Kyle finishes showering. I just know that the mic is gonna pick up all that noise and it'll be really annoying. So I'm gonna do this really quick. I'm using the DIOR Brow Styler in Universal Brown. Plus I feel like Get Ready With Me's can get really long, so gotta cut it short in some parts. Kyle is just taking the longest shower possible right now, so I'm also gonna bronze my skin while I wait for him to finish doing that. Oh! I think he heard me. I'm gonna bronze my skin with Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil. I've been trying to go a little more light-handed with my bronzer lately. It's just hard because I love bronzer so much. I love the look of it, especially in photos, but I know I go a little heavy-handed with it sometimes. But this brush, the Smith 112, really helps you to be a little more precise with your placement and not use as much because it's so small and it's like, I don't even know. It kind of reminds me of like a really large eyeshadow blending brush. But it allows you to be more precise with your placement versus using a really large brush and getting it all over the place. Now for the eyes, I'm going to be using the Too Faced Natural Love palette. I haven't used this yet, and it has the perfect cool tones in here for the look I'm going for. I'm also going to be throwing something really fancy on the eyes, really fancy. I'm going to get a little high end here, but we're going to start with this first. And I'm going to simplify my eyeshadow technique. You guys know normally I like to just kind of pack on the color and then do a lot of blending, but I know that's not really easy for a lot of people to follow. So I think starting out with a transition shade is a lot easier. So I'm gonna try and do that a little more on my channel, or just really simplify my technique so that the looks are easier to recreate. So I'm gonna start with Nudie from this palette, and I'm going to apply that to the crease as my transition color. And whenever I already have my base on, I like to knock off as much product as possible and slowly build on the color. And I also pat it onto the eye first and then blend without picking up the brush or doing extreme swiping motions so I don't get any fallout. So I'm just applying this to the outer V and the crease. And to build on that color, I'm gonna use Chocolate Martini, and I'm just gonna build on this crease color. So I'm mainly gonna focus this on the outer V. And once I have a majority of that color on there, I just go back to that same large blending brush that I used to apply that transition color and blend it out. And I'm also going to apply it to the outer corner of the lower lash line. Alright, now for the really fancy part. I am obsessed with this DIOR single eyeshadow, and I typically don't use or are drawn to high-end eyeshadows. I feel like, I don't know, the colors never really speak to me, but this one from DIOR is amazing. It is the DIOR Show Mono Eyeshadow, number 658, 658, and it's Cosmopolite. And when you see it in the palette, it doesn't do it justice until it goes on your eyes. So in order to make this eyeshadow pop, I'm going to be using this DIOR Cream Eyeshadow Crayon in the shade BOROQUE. I'm going to use this as a base for the DIOR shadow. So I'm just going to apply it right here to the area where there's no eyeshadow. And I'm going to use my fingertip to just smudge it out. And then immediately after, I'm going to press this shadow on top of that cream eyeshadow also with my fingertip. And you can see all the glitter. See, even the camera is not doing it justice. The glitter in this eyeshadow is so pretty. It's so fine. And when you start blending, it just leaves the prettiest little flecks of glitter all over your eye. So I do that, and then I'm gonna grab that blending brush again and just blend around the edges. It just has that little wow factor that isn't too intense. It's not like a straight glitter eye, but it's so pretty. Now I'm gonna look up the price of this eyeshadow for you guys really quick because I'm not sure. So let's see. Okay, it's not that bad. I was terrified that it was gonna be $40, $50, $60 for a single eyeshadow. And it's $29.50, which is still pricey for an eyeshadow, but this one is totally worth it, and I would replenish it if it ever ran out or if it broke. I really love it. It looks like they sell it at Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, Sephora. No, I think Sephora only has the cream eyeshadows. Selfridges. You can go and pick one up. Not sponsored. Okay, from here, I really want to create an even smokier, more sultry look. So I'm going to go in with a black eyeliner and just really deepen up the rim of the eyes. So I'm going to be using the Marc Jacobs highliner. This is the shade BLAQUER, spelled like lacquer. I'm just going to apply this to the waterline upper and lower and then smudge it out past the lash line. And then I'm also going to use Stiletto, the black eyeshadow, to further smoke out the edges. I'm also going to apply just a little bit right here. And then I'm using a really tiny brush to smudge it out. And then I'm going to pick up some of Stiletto, the black eyeshadow. And I'm going to use that same brush that had the darker brown eyeshadow to just further smoke out the outer edge. And this is where I take a step back and really examine the eye look. And I want to add a little more of the darker brown eyeshadow, Chocolate Martini, just to the outer edges. You can leave it here if you feel like this is already pretty dark, but I want to go a little smokier. And notice I'm keeping most of the color out here. Normally I add a lot of eyeshadow in this inner corner, but I want to give more of a cat eye effect, which is why I'm keeping it more towards this outer V portion of the eye. All right, so when it comes to lashes, I don't wear lashes on the regular, only for photos and special events. They tend to really irritate my eyes. My eyes already are pretty dry and sensitive and easily irritated, so strip lashes don't really work well for me. I can only wear them for about 30 minutes to an hour, if even that, before my eyes turn really bloodshot and they look yellow and irritated. So if I did want to wear lashes, I might put these on just for the sake of the tutorial. The ones I had on in the photo for the thumbnail are these right here by Violet Voss. They're called Wispy for Days. If not, I would do individual lashes or just pile on a ton of mascara. For me, a ton of mascara is the comfiest. So I'm gonna go grab my Superhero Mascara by IT Cosmetics. That one really amps up your lashes if you're not a false lash wearer. I really recommend it. So I'm gonna go grab that and pile it on and then be back to finish the look. Do you guys see this right now? I would say this is in my top 3 mascaras because the formula is amazing and the brush is amazing. And yeah, I might just skip false lashes today because this mascara made my eyelashes look so good. I just realized I forgot to use a setting spray before adding my mascara, because once a setting spray gets on your mascara and it drips, that is really hard to get rid of. When you get mascara on powder and you haven't used a setting spray, it's a lot easier. It just flakes off with a spoolie or brush. So I'm going to finish the rest of my skin and then use the setting spray and then add mascara to my lower lashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the skin. I'm gonna highlight with that really intense highlighter I used in my previous video, the MAC Oh Darling Extra Dimension Skin Finish. This one, you guys even commented that it looks like a mirror when I held it up. It is super, super intense. So I'm just gonna add a tiny bit. I do wanna have like that wet skin effect, but I don't want it to look too intense. So I'm just gonna pat it on. But you know what? When it's your birthday, you can do whatever you want. If you wanna go full glam, if you wanna wear no makeup, totally up to you. You should be able to do whatever it is that you want on your birthday. I'm not a big birthday person. I let Kyle plan for me because, I don't know, I think growing up I had a series of bad birthdays where I would plan something and I was, either people wouldn't show up or people would forget it was my birthday or something like that. So I'm not a really big birthday person. I like to just lay low and enjoy the day, take the day off, no work whatsoever. So I'm glad it's landing on a Saturday this year so I can just take the day off and not worry about anything. Maybe go to the beach. We always do, or Kyle always plans a really nice dinner for us. Just a really low-key birthday. And to just kind of blend the highlighter out so it doesn't look so intense, I do this. And then for blush, a lot of you guys always ask, how do I know which blush to use according to whatever makeup look it is I'm doing? And I always match my blush to my lipstick. So for the lip, I'm gonna be using ColourPop's Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Notion. And this is like a, I wanna say it's cool toned, but I can't remember. But the blush goes really well with this. Same tone, they're gonna match. It really pulls a look together. So I'm gonna apply the blush first. This is Too Faced Love Flush, Your Love is King. And this blush is really intense. So whenever a blush is intense, I pick it up and then I do this on my hand and then apply it. And it still looks intense. But it's okay, when that happens, I just grab a face powder and blend it out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mist myself with the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray. I think before I was calling it the Prime Set and Refresh Spray. And then add mascara to my lower lashes, brow gel, maybe pop on a little more highlighter, but I like how subtle it looks right now, and then add the lip. All right, and that completes my sexy birthday glam. Thank you guys for spending time to get ready with me, even though my birthday is actually tomorrow. But I just want to say thank you for all the warm wishes you guys have already sent me on Snapchat, Instagram. I love you guys to death, and you make every day so special for me, especially my birthday. So thank you guys for all that you've done for me. Cheers to another year, 28, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.